Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Storytime with Bowmaster. Last Monday was quite a fluke, to say the least. Did not go nearly as I had hoped it would. So, this time around, hopefully, it'll do much better. Oh, excuse me. It's a little bit warm in here. So, today, I'm going to be reading for you out of Why Do We Say It? The stories behind the words, expressions, and cliches we use. This is a book that was given to me as a gift a while ago, and as of yet, I actually have not read any out of it. Copyright 1985. Nice. Let's see. Boink. Okay. Close up my robe here. Hello, Tessa Calloway. Nice to see you here. Still won't work. I don't know why. So, tonight, aside from some... going to be enjoying a little bit of Bushmills. Sticking with the slightly Irish theme of the last few times. Because, as I'm sure Philip remembers, last week it was actually Jameson. And, well, last week just didn't work out very well, so... Moving on from there, we are starting all over again and bringing you all new information. I'll be your driving music, eh? Sounds good to me. Let's see. Interesting. It actually almost looks kind of like a dictionary the way they have it set up. So, A1. Why do you use A1 to mean the very best? Aside from A1 steak sauce, I don't think I've ever heard that. Because when the marine insurance firms of London started, the association later became known as Lloyd's. They also started to register of ships and shipping, in which the condition of the ships and their cargo was noted. The ships were graded by letter, the cargoes by number. A meant the ship itself was perfect, and 1 that the cargo was likewise perfect. Well, how do you like that? The simple fact that that's what used to be what was considered the best of the best is now a term for steak sauce. Hello, Zomblue. Nice to see you here. Aback. What is the reason we say that a person who is surprised is taken aback? Okay. It's a nautical term. When the sails of a square-rigged sailing ship are suddenly carried by the wind back against the mast, as sometimes happens in a strong gale, the ship is taken aback and stopped dead. So, too, a person halted abruptly by some new development is taken aback. Okay, that's pretty cool. Let's see. What in the world? Abeyance? What is the reason we say that something is held... Blech. I'm having trouble reading tonight. What is the reason we say that something held up is held in abeyance? It's because abeyance literally means hold your mouth open. While waiting for something to happen, stand with their mouths open. Interesting. Hello, Danielle, a.k.a. Danny D. Nice to see you here. And you just got butter in your eyebrows. Why in the world are you trying to butter yourself up? I don't think it works that way unless you have multiple personality disorder. Let's see. Oh, here sounds like an interesting one. Where do we get the magic word abracadabra? This Kabbalistic word, said to have been the name of the supreme deity of the Assyrians, was recommended by Q. Severus Semonicus as a charm against ague and flux if written on a piece of paper hung around the neck in this form. Oh, that is cool. That's actually really cool. If you can see right there on that page, it actually shows that abracadabra, spelled out in that way, actually makes a very interesting triangle that has all the letters repeatedly. Acknowledge the corn? Excuse me? What is the reason acknowledge the corn means no acknowledgement at all? Good question. This story is told of a man who bought 2 flatboats, loaded one with corn and the other with potatoes, and sailed down the Mississippi River to make his fortune. Upon his arrival in New Orleans, the man went to a gambling house and there lost all his money and the 2 boatloads of produce. On his return to the wharf, he found that the flatboats of corn had sunk. Later, when the person who held his note for the produce demanded delivery, he said, "Stranger, I acknowledge the corn," which was easy enough since the corn was at the bottom of the river, but by thunder, the potatoes you can't have. Alrighty then. Some of these are extremely interesting, to say the least. Let's see. Acrobat. Where did the word acrobat come from? It is a Greek word which literally means one who goes about on the tips of his toes and fingers. This is an accurate enough description of acrobatic dancers, but not of all acrobats. Fair enough. And specifically out to Daddy Daughter Broadcasting. I don't believe I've seen you in the live stream yet, but regardless, I did go to the library today to request the book that you have requested for an episode of Storytime. They did not have it in stock. However, they did put a hold on it for me, so it should be on its way very soon. So next Monday, presuming that everything goes well at the library, I should be getting that book, and that is what hopefully we will be reading next story time. Excuse me, my ears need to pop. Let's see. There's actually a lot of different phrases in here, but it really is kind of like reading through a dictionary. I don't know how terribly entertaining this is for you guys, so I do apologize if this is a little bit boring tonight. I want to be a waffle. Are you waffly wedded? Waffly wedded? I can't even talk properly tonight. Okay, here's an interesting one that goes with what happened last week. What is the origin of the term D-Day? The D in D-Day just stands for day. Any given day, although it is now generally used to refer to the day Allied troops invaded France in World War II, June 6, 1944. In order not to divulge the designated day of a military operation, it was never written as a definite date, but only as D. The hour was designated as H. Other related days and hours were designated as D plus or D minus, and H plus and H minus. Okay. I've fairly often heard that referred to as Death Day, simply because of how many casualties were inflicted during that assault. Okay, here's a funny one to follow that up. Dead as a doornail. Why do we say something is dead as a doornail? The doornail is the plate or knob on which the hammer of a door knocker strikes. Since the nail is knocked on the head many times a day, it cannot be supposed to have much life left in it. Seriously, that's it? That's really the origin? Dang, that one was kind of a build up and kind of a bit of a letdown there, unfortunately. I mean, it's still interesting nonetheless. That's just kind of not what I expected, you know? But whatever. Okay, this one sounds interesting. Deadhead. Why is a person riding a railroad train and paying no fare called a deadhead? The term comes from the theater. A person admitted without having to pay any admission is called a deadhead because he can't be counted when the revenue is figured, since the dead can't reach into their pockets to pay. The term is less appropriate when applied to the railroad travel. Every corpse must have a ticket to ride a train. It must also have a live companion riding with it or pay double fare. Boy, doesn't that sound like a fun train trip. Yeah, we're going to need 2 tickets, please. All right, and who's your second coming with you? Oh, this stiff behind me here. It's all right. He doesn't take up much room. You don't have to worry about feeding him. I know that's terrible. I don't care. Origin of raining cats and dogs. That's a very good question. Let me take a look here. That would be in the R's, obviously. There we go. Rabbit Punch. Just call me Corpsey McGee. Yeah, Dusty Hills Mortuary, you stab 'em, we slab 'em. There's a stiff you'd like to talk to. Rabbit Punch. Why do we call a punch behind the ear in boxing a rabbit punch? I'm not much of a boxer, so I've actually never heard that term. Because at one time, a poacher catching a rabbit in a snare, which in itself had not killed the animal, would kill it with a blow on the back of the neck. Okay, that got morbid fast. Radar. How did radar get its name? It's just a combination of the initial letters of radio, direction, and ranging, an exact description of what it does. Okay, that's kind of cool. Oh, bingo. Found it. Raining cats and dogs. What is the origin of the expression raining cats and dogs? It comes from Norse mythology, in which the cat symbolizes heavy rain, while the dog, an attendant of Odin, the storm god, represents great blasts of wind. The proverbial enmity of cats and dogs must have led to the choice of these animals to represent the conflict of the elements in the storm, just as it has increased the popularity of the expression. Interesting. I actually heard a different origin story to that one, saying that oftentimes, back when they had the old shod and grass roofs, when it started raining extremely heavily, that's where typically a lot of animals would try to seek shelter from the storm, and since those would become wet very quickly and become very slick, they would all go sliding down off the roof, and if you looked out the window at the right time, you could literally see cats and dogs falling off the roof. So that's where I initially heard that phrase came from. Either way, that's still a pretty interesting story to know. Thought I saw something. Oh, here's an interesting one. Red herring. How did we come to call misdirection drawing a red herring across the trail? Never quite heard the full-length term of it like that before, but either way. This term is for... This term for an attempt to distract attention from the main issue comes from fox hunting. A red herring has a very strong odor because of the way it's cured, and so hounds set on the scent of a fox may be distracted by the smell of a red herring dragged across the trail. Then the hounds will follow the trail of the red herring instead of the fox. Interesting. Let's see. Awesome. I have a new subscriber to my first channel. Very cool. Rhyme or reason? Why do we say without rhyme or reason? Some poets have no sense to them, but at least they have rhyme. Some prose is awkward, but at least has reason. Alrighty then. Okay, that one sounds interesting. Not sure if I should read that one for certain reasons, but you know what? Screw it. My channel isn't big enough to gain any kind of real notice from YouTube yet. Right and left. Why do we refer... Man, I cannot freaking read properly tonight. Why do we refer to a conservative political party as a party of the right and a liberal party as a party of the left? Because that's how they're traditionally seated in the legislatures of Europe. The presiding officer was generally a man of position and therefore a conservative. So he seated the conservatives on his right to honor them more than the liberals he seated on his left. Okay, that's actually interesting. I like how I keep saying that after almost every single description I read. Oh. Here's an interesting one. Rule of thumb. Now, I've heard a few different stories to this one. How did rough measurements come to be called a rule of thumb? Because that's one way to make rough measurements. The first joint of the thumb is approximately 1 inch long. A foot was once the length of a foot, and a hand, the width of a hand. An ell, the length of the arm from the elbow to elbow, and a fathom, the length of the arms outstretched. Oh, so that's how long a fathom is. We still use a finger to measure drinks. Okay, so that's interesting simply because it gives you the notion of fairly different measuring systems that we still, in part at least, use today. Now, the other origin story I've heard regards to rule of thumb is actually from Fallout, as well as from the era of nuclear warfare. The old adage was, and this is why you see the guy in the game Fallout standing there like this, with his thumb out, one eye closed, and looking at his thumb. That is actually because if the mushroom cloud of the nuclear blast that has just gone off is bigger than your thumb, you are technically in the radiation area, and you need to evacuate immediately. So there's a tidbit of information for you the next time your local neighborhood or neighboring neighborhood, if that's not redundant at all, gets hit with a nuke. If the mushroom cloud's bigger than your thumb, run! There's been a lot of dark humor in this episode so far. Ooh, here's an interesting one. Sabotage. Where does the word sabotage come from? The word, which originally meant a willful destruction of machinery. Where does the term waffle come from? Like, I am waffling over a decision. I will see if that's in this book as soon as I'm finished reading Sabotage. Because now I'm actually curious about that. Let's see. The word, which originally meant a willful destruction of machinery by workmen in industrial disputes, is French and is derived from sabot, or sabot. I'm not sure how that one is supposed to be pronounced properly. The name of the French workman's wooden shoe. When looms were first introduced in France, the workmen of the mills objected to them and threw their wooden shoes into the looms in order to wrench into the system. Only they're throwing their shoes instead. Alright, let's see. W, here we go. Oh, darn. Looks like waffling is not in this book. Let's see. Just trying to gain more amazing knowledge from this kick-ass book and giving you ideas of things to look up. Thank you. I very much appreciate it. Wait, what? Wink is as good as a nod. Why do we say a wink is as good as a nod? I've never even heard that phrase. The original phrase was, a wink is as good as a nod to a blind horse. In other words, there's no point in nodding at a person who can't see you wink. But we have changed that meaning of this expression to indicate the ability to take a hint, and so, of necessity, have dropped all references to the horse. Okie dokie then. Let's see. Knock on wood. Let's see. Phony. Oh, that's interesting. They actually have quizzes built into this book. I just now found that. So this actually has questions in here that can be found in this book, such as, why do we say a person with spunk has grit? Not sure I want to know the reason behind that one. Ooh, here's one I know the answer of, but do you know the answer of it? Where did illegal whiskey get the name moonshine? N-glands? What's N-glands? M-gland? Now I really have no idea what you're talking about. Hi, Belle. Miss Belle. Hey, get your butt back here. Hi, pretty girl. Belle decided to come say hi. England? What does England have to do with moonshine? Huh, interesting. Knock on wood is apparently not in this book. Which is a shame. I was actually hoping to look for that one. But let's see. The answer is on 227. Huh? That is not on that page. Oh, too far. Well, where in the heck is moonshine, then? Are you seriously not going to give me the answer after putting that into the damn quiz? That's just mean. Anyway, let me double check on this real quick. I'm still not entirely sure what England has to do with moonshine, but I do know that back during the days of Prohibition, back when this fine stuff was illegal in the United States, people would distill it in their backyards and in barns and things of that sort, and they would run the liquor in the light of the full moon in their cars. Simply because if they were running under the light of the full moon, they were able to go through the woods in different areas without having the cops tipped off as to where they are. Oh no! Thus where the term moonshine came from. They actually cover this a little bit in the movie Cars 3, funny enough. And, interestingly enough, it was thanks to Prohibition and the moonshiners needing to make their cars faster than the police cars that NASCAR itself actually wound up coming to be as well. So there you go. There's another little tidbit of information that, for whatever reason, was not in this book. Moonshine was the term given to whiskey distilled and then run under the light of the full moon so the cops couldn't see where the cars actually were. The more you know. That is actually a term that Cody Lundeen, a very big survival instructor, uses. The more you know, the less you need, which is very true. If you have plenty of knowledge in regards to just about anything in life, you don't need quite as much physically, so to speak, as you would otherwise need without having that knowledge. That being said, however, it is still important to hone the skills necessary that goes with that knowledge, or else, it's just kind of like saying, oh yes, I've read how to take out an engine and dismantle it, but I've never actually done it, and I don't know what tools to use. See what I mean? Okay. If you'll excuse me for just a moment. You're probably still going to hear this in the background, but I don't want to do it on camera and be rude. Fudge. I missed. I'll get it later. How do you make a tissue dance? I feel like I've heard this one, but I honestly can't remember. I assume you mean put a little boogie in it? So yes, I have heard that one. It's still funny. Hello again, Miss Bell. Say hi. How you doing, pretty girl? Miss Bell. Miss Bell. Oh, bonk. Oh yeah, she always has to come in and say hi during the live streams. Well, sometimes at least when she's actually in. And Lord knows that in Colorado lately it's been so stinking hot that she's been in the house quite a bit. I know personally my asthma has been royally kicking my butt. There's no doubt about that, thanks to, for one, the cottonwood trees releasing all their cotton, all the other allergens that are up, the hay cutting in the area, as well as the numerous wildfires. So, yeah, I'm just doing loads of great right now. So, hate the heat. Yeah, I hear you. Whoa. Woo! I just barely cracked this thing open and I can already smell it. Woo-hoo. So, in storytime fashion, cheers to everyone out there watching now and everyone who is watching in post. I know this is a bit of a different digression from what storytime normally is. So if for whatever reason you don't particularly care for this type of storytime, I do apologize. But again, sadly, I was unable to get the book that I was planning on reading for tonight's storytime. But since Daddy-Daughter Broadcasting was unable to join this time around, which is totally fine, believe me, I understand. There's a few live streams of his that I've missed as well. He can watch and post and see what's going on. Still awesome, I like hearing fun facts, it is all good. Well, I'm very glad to hear that. Because, personally, I love learning stuff like this to begin with anyway. That's very true, it is my channel, and I do what I want. I need to work on what I'm saying sometimes, but yes. Oh, in other news, I did finally get the lock off of my Benjamin Bulldog, so now I am able to actually shoot it once my high-pressure pump has arrived. I placed an order for that the same day that I got the Benjamin, and they said it should arrive within about 9 to 14 days, I believe, so basically anywhere from about 2 to 4 weeks from that day. So about, I don't know, 3 weeks to go maybe, depending on how long it takes. And I've also been doing some looking around to see if they have any decent ammunition in other websites, because no offense to Crossman, but their website isn't all that great. Have to run into the store. If you're still on, we will be back. Sounds good. If I'm still here, I will see you guys when you come back. First, I think I'd have to actually find myself another book to read first, though. Damn allergies. Well, let me take a look and see what we got real quick. Here's an interesting one. Bow Hunting Essentials from the North American Hunting Club. Now, this is a club I remember joining several years back, and they wanted to send you one of these minimum of once a month. And they're nice little books, but they're definitely not the best out there, and that really starts to add up after a while. I mean, they're not the biggest books out there, obviously, but they do have some very interesting little information in them. You know, it talks about the force draw curve, so the difference between round wheel, soft cam, and hard cam. If you know much about compound bows, you'll know what that's referring to, but let me go ahead and show you a picture here. And since this book is a little bit older, it doesn't include single cam and no cam designs, to my knowledge. Which is fine, there's nothing wrong with that. Oh, I found where I last was in the book. Yes, if you are interested in learning a little bit about archery, then I definitely would consider looking into a book such as this one. You know, this kind of information is definitely very informative. That's not freaking redundant at all. This information is informative. Gee, you think? Choosing a hunting bow. Now, I'm not going to read through terribly many chapters in this book right off the bat, simply because we've already been going for a little over half an hour. So I'll go ahead and read through Chapter 1 and maybe Chapter 2. And if you would like to hear any more information on archery or any more books such as this, I do still have a fair collection up there of these. I mean, I've got an entire collection of books already to begin with. Boink. And if you can see right there, that's just one little section that I have. If you are... we love you lots and lots, Bowmaster. Thank you very much. Love you guys too. Very appreciative of all of my fans out there, all of my followers. If you are still on when we get done in the shop, we'll catch you on the drive back. Fair enough. So let's go ahead and just read through Chapter 1 here, which is choosing a hunting bow. Now, archery is obviously a subject that I am very fond of. Here's one thing you learn right off the bat. Bow hunting is an individual sport. A bow hunter is best suited to being alone in the woods, making or breaking a day's success on the merits of skill, preparation, and luck. Choosing a hunting bow is also an individual activity. Just because a well-known bow hunting professional like Chuck Adams, Ted Nugget, or Miles Keller uses a particular brand and type of bow doesn't mean it's the right one for you. Simply purchasing that specific make and model, though their bows are probably well-made, high-performance tools that work well, notice that they say tools there, not weapons, won't necessarily make you an overnight success. And trust me, nothing in archery is about an overnight success. The bow may even turn out to be one that, for whatever reason, you are not able to shoot particularly well. I have experienced this. There are a few different bows that I have shot that I don't handle very well. And in fact, there's even a couple of bows that I've had for years now that I don't handle quite as well as I used to. I tell people that choosing a new bow is a lot like finding a new place to go hunting. The folks who spend the most time researching new areas, talking to people about them, then scouting the terrain before their hunt begins are the ones who consistently experience the most success. The same goes for bow shopping. Look around. Read all the literature, including reports in North American Hunter and bow hunting magazines, not to mention various different websites that have bows for sale. Talk to people, your hunting buddies, or people you meet on the local target range or in the pro shop. Ask your resident archery pro shop owner what he recommends. By all means, shoot as many new makes and models as you can in the shop. Take your time. To a large degree, the success and enjoyment of your future bow hunting trips depend on this decision, so don't rush. Pretty soon you'll find a bow that feels just right to you. The grip snuggles comfortably into your hand, it's smooth to draw, easy to hold at full draw, and just feels right when you drop the string. It's made by a reputable manufacturer and backed by a solid warranty. Then, and only then, should you reach for your wallet. A good friend once shared with me the analogy that selecting a hunting bow is like choosing a spouse. There are lots of good ones out there, you just have to search until you find the one you like best. When you're a traditional archer seeking a new recurve or longbow, or a modern bow hunter searching for the latest in compound bow technology, first and foremost, listen to your heart. After all, the only person you need to please in bow hunting is yourself. And that is very true. One of the things I love most about archery is being able to test and shoot as many bows as I can possibly get my hands on. Now, bear in mind, sometimes that is definitely easier said than done. I have a fair collection here, and I can shoot with all of them with fairly good accuracy. The only one that I suffer a little bit with is my 72-pound longbow, and that's just because that thing's a beast of a bow to draw back to begin with. But as far as it goes for all of my other bows, each one is different. Each one handles a little bit differently. Each one has its own unique quirks that you have to get over. And in all reality, it's just like it says. There are some that are simply better than others. Matter of fact, my buddy Monkey, who you have seen on my other channel a couple times, he actually purchased a couple of bows from a pawn shop. The first one was with my help, and it is a very nice 45-pound recurve bow. And unless I'm mistaken, that is the one that I used in my video that said, "Boom! This bow vlog cost me." Because that is the same bow that I was shooting at the compressed bottles with, excuse me. And that is a heck of an awesome bow. That thing is so much fun to shoot. And for me personally, I can actually watch the arrow in flight from leaving the bow all the way to the target. It just almost feels like it was made for my shooting style. And there is no definitive brand on it. He also recently got a hell of a great deal on a Bear Kodiak Magnum, I think. I will have to recheck, and I will gladly bring that one into one of my bow vlogs in the future. It has a draw weight of 55 pounds as opposed to 45, and you can really feel a difference between the two of them. It shoots very smooth, it shoots straight, it hits hard, and I wouldn't hesitate to take that bow hunting at all. One of my personal favorite brands is Ben Pearson. Those are older bows, of course, and I believe I have shown both of my Ben Pearsons that I own. One is a spoiler, and the other, I believe, is a cougar. Yes, I believe it's a cougar. And the cougar is much longer than the spoiler. So it has a little bit more stability, and that's one thing that it actually does mention in this book, is the fact that the longer recurves and the longer longbows, kind of redundancy there, have much more stability than the shorter ones. And it goes without saying that a longbow, simply by nature, will have more stability than a recurve will. Now, that can change depending on the type of bow, the draw weight, and things of that sort. But generally speaking, yes, a longbow will be much more stable than a recurve will be. But the advantage of a recurve is they're going to be shooting a little bit faster than a longbow. Plus, you're going to get just as much power out of a recurve as you will out of a longbow of the same draw weight and a much smaller package. That's why the Mongols and several other cultures throughout history used short bows. They were able to get the same power as other cultures, but they were in a much shorter package. They were able to fire easily from horseback using different techniques that you typically wouldn't really see with the other types of bows out there. Now, one of the biggest innovations that came about in archery was the invention and usage of fiberglass. Now, for those of you that have watched my bow vlogs in the past, you will recognize this one. This is the Green Mystery Bow that I got from my buddy Lord Mechanicus. Now, this is a very interesting bow. We believe it draws at right around 45 pounds, maybe a little more. But it shoots pretty straight. The only problem is it has a bit of hand shock when it is shot. So if you're not used to that, it can throw off your accuracy a little bit. And another thing to be said in the world of archery is that expensive is not always better. I mean, several of the bows that I own, I've gotten for super cheap. I guess I could be bragging a little bit about that. I mean, technically the most expensive bow I own is the one I got from the Renfest, the one that is the 72-pounder. It's been so long I honestly can't remember. I think I paid around $180 for it, I think. Everything else was under 100, easily. Some of them I got for free, some of them I ordered online. Matter of fact, right over here, come here, is my PSE Kingfisher. I found this on eBay in a full kit that came with the bow fishing reel, a couple of bow fishing arrows, as well as a mounting for those arrows, and the bow itself. And I got the guy talked down to about $115, if I remember correctly. Okay, so that's two that I paid over $100 for. But this bow was noisy, and it rattled a bit when I shot it initially. However, once I put these on there, which these are actually known as beaver balls, it quieted right down. Now, physical weight-wise, this is one of the heaviest bows I own. It still draws at 45 pounds like most of mine, but physical weight, this is by far one of the heaviest. Now, as far as the other ones go, my Ben Pearson spoiler, which is the first bow I ever owned, is one of the lightest. Matter of fact, I have a very specific memory of going to state competition with that bow, and when I'm not sure if he was a judge or if curator is the proper term, whatever he was, picked up my bow and then pulled it back with a digital weight measurement to see what the draw weight was on it. He couldn't believe how light that bow is. He literally said that is the lightest bow he has ever held in his entire life. I said, good. It's a damn fine bow. I enjoy shooting it. Though I have noticed that Once I tend to get warmed up, or my arms even start to get a little bit tired, that I tend to shoot a little bit to the right, specifically with the spoiler. I'm not sure why, and I've been doing everything I can to try and fix my posture and my release to take care of that problem, but that is one thing I have noticed. Either way, when I do manage to finally get to go bow hunting, whatever that might be, which might be this year actually, depending on what happens, I will probably take my spoiler with me because I wanted that to be what I take my first animal with. If I'm going for big game, I will gladly hunt big game with a 45-pound bow. I will not hesitate to hunt big game with a 45-pound bow at all. A lot of bow hunters out there, especially when you're talking the more traditional types that shoot what I shoot, they shoot recurves or longbows, they use primitive tackle, things of that sort. Almost everyone out there will tell you, you need to go 55 pounds for big game hunting or go home. It's like, I've heard of people taking down moose with a 35-pound bow. I've heard of people taking them down with a little green bow like what I've got right in the back here. Matter of fact, watch. Okay. You see that little green curve right there? That is the little Kingfisher bow. At least I think it's Kingfisher. No, that's the other bow. Anyway, that one's a Shakespeare. That's what it is. That's only 35 pounds, and someone was able to take down a full-grown moose with such a light draw-weight bow. So, and there have also been several videos on YouTube of people very cleanly harvesting big game such as hogs and deer and such with 45-pound bows. So I have no doubt in my mind that I could easily take down a deer or even possibly an elk with one of the bows I have. If I am going to go with a heavier draw weight, then I will borrow my friend Monkey's bear bow, which is 55 pounds, as I mentioned earlier. Because with that, obviously, it's got more than enough draw weight there to actually take down big game as well. Most people will say to go with heavier draw weights, but it's essentially entirely up to you. Matter of fact, there's a channel out there called Iraqi Vet 8888, I think. I know Iraqi Vet is in the title. And they have a video called How Far Will the Bow and Arrow Kill? And they bring on a hunter who is a survival expert, a teacher, and a few other titles such as that. Pretty cool guy. And he uses a 40-pound bow, recurve, with a very specific setup, carbon arrows with a very heavy single bevel edge broadhead, and he has taken 500-pound boar with that exact bow. Now, keep in mind, with a lighter draw weight bow, you do have to get closer to your quarry than you would with a heavier bow. Either way, bow hunting is a very short-range sport no matter what you do, unless you're back in the 50s to 80s with Ben Pearson or Howard Hill, apparently. I've actually got a really cool DVD that has hunting scenes with Howard Hill, and when they were hunting for goats, they were taking 70 and 90-yard shots at the goats, which, by modern standards, that's quite a distance for shooting with bows. And considering they were using recurves and longbows and taking those long shots, that's pretty impressive. By today's standards, at least. That long ago, people shot that far distance because, they could, and they might not be able to get any closer, and they could take those shots because they were comfortable taking them. By today's standards, you want to easily stay within 40 yards or less, preferably less. But, it's all depends on what you do, how you hunt, and what you're hunting for. Out here in the field that I have, my backyard, which you have seen before, we've got a fair amount of distance. If I had to guess, it's probably right around 70 yards, maybe a little less. And when I can, I enjoy going out there and doing long-range shooting. The thing is that we got our neighbor next door, and every now and then one of my arrows will somehow go under the fence. So I still want to get a decent backdrop behind my target to keep my arrows from going all the way over the fence, but, I enjoy doing long-range archery. If I had a longer field, if I had a really big open range to shoot from, I would love to start doing shooting on the wing, which is basically shooting at moving targets that are flying through the air. But at this point in time, I suppose I probably could in my backyard if I had some decent flu arrows, but if I were to just try and use normal arrows like that, then not a chance. It wouldn't work very well. Hello, Tessa and Zomblue. Welcome back. I only read one chapter out of this book, and then I just started rambling on about archery information that I know. That's one thing I personally think would be quite interesting to see. Aside from shooting on the wing, I think it'd be interesting to see how many atlatalists out there, if that's even the term for it, would be able to hit targets out of the air with an atlatl dart. Now that sounds like the ultimate challenge. Because, as I mentioned before regarding the atlatl itself, it is deceptively simple. It's like, oh yeah, you put an oversized arrow on the stick here and you throw it. Easy peasy! Except that accuracy is not nearly as easy as you think it is. Trust me on that one. But I digress. I think it'd be really interesting to see people try and do shooting on the wing with crossbows or airbows. That's what I think would be interesting. The good stuff. I still want to see you and Zomblue do that. He just needs all the practice. Well, in regards to getting equipment, there are several different websites, obviously, you can go to get equipment fairly cheap, such as Cabela's, Bass Pro Shops, Three Rivers Archery, obviously. I mention them quite a bit in my videos. I'm not sponsored by them at all, which I really wish I was. That would be amazing. And even eBay is a good place to look. If you want to get into archery for super, super cheap, check out the Backyard Bowyer here on YouTube. His name is Nick. He originally lived in Hawaii for a while. And he is not necessarily the inventor, but he's one of the guys who really brought the PVC bow to light. And that's literally what it is. It is a bow made out of PVC pipe. And he makes several different kinds, too. I've actually made a few different bows out of PVC from his designs. I was doing it for quite a while there. One of them broke and almost took out my eye, so I kind of stopped a little bit after that, but he has so many videos about that, about not only making the bows out of PVC for super, super cheap, but he also has videos on how to make arrows for extremely cheap as well. He even has videos on how to make tips for them, which he, if I remember correctly, those are made with PVC pipe and nails. Yes, indeed. That's why you actually need to check your PVC when you buy it to make sure it is a good batch. The batch I happened to buy was just simply enough not a good batch. That's all it was. Damn allergies. So, make sure to test your PVC, and another good method to do to kind of double the security, so to speak, is to either put fiberglass tape on the entire length of the bow, or to wrap the bow with duct tape. And that will actually help it to last a little bit longer, because then if the PVC itself actually manages to break when you're shooting it, at least it'll break in the duct tape and not break on your face. Matter of fact, I've got one PVC bow left over that actually has withstood the test of time. And it is such a good shooter. I don't shoot it very often anymore because I do need to go ahead and reinforce it a little bit, but when I first made it and for several years after that, it just shot so well. So yes, if you are looking to get into archery for fairly cheap, check out Backyard Bowyer. He's an awesome guy. He's very friendly. He actually made a response video to me. If you check on my first channel, which is simply labeled as Bowmaster619, I actually did a question video specifically for Nick, talking about some of the issues I had with PVC bows. And what I meant to simply say was the fact that I personally was having a little issues with them, and if there was anything he could recommend to change that with. And people got the wrong message from it, sadly. I wasn't blaming him for what happened. I was simply asking if there was something I did wrong, or if I just got a bad batch of PVC, or what it was. That's all I was saying in the video, and people were giving me crap about it, saying, stop blaming Nick, it's your own damn fault. Oh, nice. So yeah, you can definitely check out that video to see what's going on. And if you actually look up Backyard Bowyer and Bowmaster619, he actually gave a response video to me fairly soon after I posted that, talking about some of the things you can do to kind of extend the life of your bows, as well as just simply checking the PVC itself to make sure it's not all brittle and crunchy and ready to break at a moment's notice. But yes, just to reiterate one last time, because I find myself repeating quite a bit, check out his channel if you want to get into archery for super cheap. It's not hard to make a PVC bow at all. It's actually a lot of fun. It's hot work, to say the least, because you have to heat shape them, but it is so much fun. It is very rewarding, and they shoot surprisingly well for being made out of plastic. Plus, dowel rods will become your best friend. Dowel rods and duct tape. Because you can make fletching out of duct tape very easily. I've seen several different survival channels out there that do just that. Instead of paying all the high prices for getting fletching like this, or even buying the full-length fletching and cutting their own feathers, which actually isn't too bad once you actually get started on it, they just put duct tape on there and then cut them to shape, which works fairly well. It's not the best in the world by any means. I've done it a few times, and, you know, I prefer to just have regular old fletching on there, but if you have nothing else and you're trying to do it on an extreme budget, duct tape is definitely a good option. I'm tired today. I don't know why. I mean, I came in here and sat down to watch a couple of videos at around 2:30. Got up at around 5 like, oh, what happened? Maybe it's from allergies. Maybe it's from stress. I don't know. There's been a lot of crap going on, so it's been interesting. But kids are doing good. William is growing and becoming so articulate. He's talking. Sometimes it takes a little bit to understand what exactly he's saying, but he is talking. He is helping out around the house. He is just the coolest damn kid. I love him so much. Which do you prefer, aluminum or carbon fiber? Carbon fiber all the way. But that's just me personally. I mean, I shoot aluminum shafts. You know, aluminum is what I actually started on. I believe I told that story before about my first bow and my first archery kit. So, I am not opposed to shooting aluminum at all. They fly well. They're definitely heavier than carbon fiber, most of them. So they give a good punch down range when you're hunting. But me, personally, you can't go wrong with a good carbon fiber shaft. Trust me on that one. Because with carbon fiber, it's either straight or it's broken. That is Zomblu's preferred arrow too. Awesome. I can't think of very many archers out there that I've spoken with, at least, that don't enjoy shooting carbon fiber. I mean, there was one guy who believed that aluminum is the end-all be-all and that you can't beat aluminum and carbon fiber sucks. until he shot a couple of carbon fiber shafts out of my bow. His tune changed like that. And suddenly he's just like, oh my god, these things are amazing! It's like, what'd I tell you, old man? Uh-huh. It's unfortunately, he wound up going senile shortly after that, and claimed that supposedly I was trying to peep in on his wife in the shower. It's like, for one, I don't even know where the hell your bathroom is because I've never been in your house. And two, why would I want to look at that? That'd be like looking at a bloodhound in a shower cap. No, thank you! But I digress. That might not have been necessarily YouTube appropriate, but that's what happened. Before all of that crap wound up going down, he was a really cool guy. He had a black lab named Harley. She was the sweetest dog. She was my baby. You know, she would listen to every command I gave her. She was just the biggest sweetheart. She loved to play. And, yeah, she passed away several years ago, and I miss her, but, you know, what can you do? He was kind of a racist old man, too, come to think of it. I mean, I remember one time, I'm not going to say the actual words here because this would definitely get me a strike, probably. But I remember bringing one of my old slingshots to him, an old Daisy or Crossman, you know, one of the cheapo wrist rockets you can get from Walmart, and asked if he had any rubber bands to make a new band set for it, because at the time, I didn't know squat about slingshots. Said, oh, you got yourself an end shooter there, do you? Like, excuse me, a what? Yeah, I got an end shooter right here, too, see? See him walking down the road? I'm just like, wow. Now, obviously, he didn't say N. He said the full-on word, but you get what I mean. God, frickin'. Yeah, my thoughts exactly there, Tessa. Excuse me, that was gross. So yes, had some very interesting times, to say the least, with that guy. But, yep, the good times that were there, but it ended, so whatever. Move on, not interested anymore. The one thing that I do kind of wish I would have been able to somehow get from him before things went downhill and his mind decided to run off to Vegas without him, he had a screaming eagle in his little archery shed. Now, for those of you that don't know what a screaming eagle is, I don't think they have a picture of it in this book, but they have in one of the other books I have. It is basically a compound recurve. Look it up online. It is such an interesting bow. I found one at a pawn shop a while ago, but I didn't have the $250 to buy it. Plus, the draw length is all the way back here on me. But basically, that's exactly what it is. It is a freaking compound recurve. It is one of the strangest things out there. It wasn't made for very long, but it is something that I really would like to add to my collection. Just because it is so unique. I mean, there's another one that I remember seeing on Pawn Stars a while ago, and I actually saw a picture of it on Facebook. I cannot for the life of me remember what the name is. Don't need people like that in your life. Negative is bad. I completely agree. He died a few years ago, so it's not a big deal anymore. But anyway, this bow that I saw both on Facebook and on Pawn Stars was a very early and odd version of a compound. I, for the life of me, cannot remember what the hell the name of it is, but it's basically a modern rendition of a Penobscot bow. Now, for those of you that don't know what a Penobscot bow is, take a recurve bow and then put a small bow on the front of it. So essentially, have your bow here, and then right here, have two more small limbs coming out the front, which then has a string from up here going to the limb. It's a way to be able to increase the poundage and speed of a regular bow without having to have more material here, because a lot of times, at least for those particular areas, they didn't have any more materials for it, so they had to improvise and make something different, such as that. Now, the modern rendition of the Penobscot bow basically has the exact same getup as the one I just described, but it actually has the compound wheels on the top of the main bow limbs, and then the string itself goes down to the smaller limbs on the front of the bow. So it, in theory, has not only the mechanical advantage of the wheels that the compounds have, but it also has the added poundage of the limbs on the front. If anyone can tell me what the heck the name of that thing is, I would be very grateful for it, because I am drawing a total blank. But definitely look these items up for yourself, just so you know what they look like. The Screaming Eagle, the Penobscot bow, and this weird mystery compound bow that I cannot, for the life of me, remember the name of. I gotta tell you, the Irish know what they're doing when it comes to spirits. Now, I'm not sure I could say the same in regards to their beer. I mean, personally, I'm a big fan of Guinness. So, I enjoy drinking Guinness. Their 200-year anniversary, which I still have a bottle of, went very well with a meal I made the other day, which was called Meatloaf a la Mom. It's from a club I joined recently called Hello Fresh, which is basically where they will send you meals every week, depending on what your plan is. Mine was two people, 2 meals, basically. They would send me 2 meals that was equivalent to feeding 2 people at one sitting. And they will send you 2 once every week, and you have a menu that you can choose from for whatever meals it is that you want. I recently had to cancel because I forgot to skip a week and wound up getting a surprise box, basically, which was a mushroom gravy chicken with couscous, which my mom wound up eating because I am allergic to mushrooms. I couldn't eat it. And the other one was meatloaf a la mom, which was actually some really good meatloaf. I just added way too much pepper on the carrots. But the, hello, Louisa Lewis, nice to see you here. But the Guinness actually mixed very well with the meatloaf a la mom. It actually paired perfectly. But as far as other beers from Ireland, I'm actually not sure on that, because I have not really looked too much into it. I should. I want to. But, I've honestly considered doing some beer reviews on my channel. But as of yet, I haven't even hardly had the time to do any editing, which is why I'm very glad I can still do live streams like this, because this way I can still get videos out to you guys and still talk to you every now and then, even if I don't have the time to properly edit. Because I want to get these videos out to you. I've got 3 Spirit Saturdays and a hot sauce tasting that I want to get out to you guys. Time is a cruel lover, to say the least. And again, I'm trying to abstain from profanity here on this channel, so there you go. Maybe next week if I don't have the book specifically for Daddy-Daughter Broadcasting, maybe I'll just bring out a thesaurus and start reading words out of the thesaurus. I'm tripping all over my words right now, aren't I? Almost sounds like I got a lisp of some kind. Okay, that just reminds me. Story time again. Read it in silly voices. Yes, indeed. Reading in silly voices is actually quite fun, but you gotta do it with the proper book, or else it's not gonna sound right in the slightest. But back when I worked for Country Buffet, just to really screw with people to see who was actually paying attention, I would constantly take orders in different accents. Every now and then I'd go with some kind of an Australian accent, Really throw him off there. Trying to switch between accents is a royal pain in the butt, I'll tell you that. Fudge, now I'm drawing a blank here. Whatever now and then, I may go ahead and go with some kind of an Irish or a Scottish accent. Or even go with a British accent every now and then. Just have some fun with it. But the best part was when people would actually ask me where I'm from. Oh, I'm from aroundabouts here. And they just saw me looking at me like, whoa, what the heck? Yeah, that's right. I totally faked that accent, but I was so good at it, you couldn't even tell, could you? That was so much fun, just to see the look on their faces, because I'm just prattling off in Australian, Scottish, Irish, British. Sometimes I'd even really mess with them and do a southern accent, or I attempted to do a Barbados accent once. That didn't work out very well. But yes, that was one of my favorite pastimes while working at Country Buffet, was just doing different accents when I'm taking people's orders, when I'm ringing them in. And I used to do that at the call center I worked at. Call centers. I worked 6 months at a call center. I will never go back. But yes, it's a lot of fun, isn't it? Just to see if people will actually take the time to notice. Be like, where are you from exactly? Your accent sounds really interesting. And then you suddenly turn around and just switch back to your regular accent. It's like, oh, right here. I was born and raised in Colorado my whole life. Just... Yes, the call center I worked at for 6 months. Did a southern accent on a live stream last night. Very cool. I think I still need to subscribe to your channel. I'm not sure if I've actually subscribed or not yet. I will make sure to do that as soon as I'm done with this live stream, of course. And I do apologize for taking my sweet time with it. It's just, I honestly forgot to do it. So I apologize very much. Please don't be mad at me for it. But I will get that done as soon as I'm done. I'll subscribe to both. I will subscribe to whoever I possibly can, because I'm all about making channels grow. That's why I will constantly mention channels out there such as Killer Orange Cat. He reads different, she has no content. Oh, I see. Wait, so you're live streaming on Zomblu's channel then? Now I'm confused, because you said you did a live stream, so were you live streaming on Zomblu's channel? Is that what I'm getting from this? Gotcha. Got it. Whew. Okay, so this has been Storytime with Bowmaster. We initially started with Why Do We Say It? Worked our way into bow hunting essentials, and then went off on a little bit of a tangent about archery, as well as some of the other subjects that we wound up kind of sporadically covering. Thank you very much for the shout out. I appreciate it. And of course, I am also subscribed to Louisa Lewis. She has hilarious videos as well, so definitely be sure to check them out if you haven't already. To anyone watching in post, please subscribe to Zomblu and Tessa Calloway. I know Tessa doesn't have any content on her channel apparently, but support doesn't hurt. And of course, be sure to subscribe to Daddy Daughter Broadcasting. He always gives us a shout out every time that I happen to be on the channel, so I appreciate that, Philip. Thank you very much. And hopefully, next week, the book that I have ordered that you requested specifically will be in, and I will be able to read that for the next story time. If it doesn't sound very good, I apologize, but it's been quite a while since I've read a book of that type. You're very welcome, Louisa Lewis. I will gladly shout out any channels I possibly can when I can. My channel might not be terribly big, but if I can reach even a small audience and shout out other channels to help them grow, I will gladly do it. I mean, let's be honest here. The reason my channel expanded the way it did was thanks to the LA Beast. I sent him a super chat and simply said, "Can I please get a shout out?" And he went, "Sure. Subscribe to this guy, everybody. Let's see if we can get him up to like 40 subscribers." And now I'm up. I don't even know how many subscribers I'm up to at this point, actually. 81 subscribers. Holy crap. Yes, I saw you uploaded multiple videos yesterday, actually. I do not have Twitter. I have Facebook, as you know, but I actually have not even tried to get into Twitter yet. Dang it. My ear really needs to freaking pop right now. Oh. Ow. Oh. Okay. This is how I promote Zomblue's channel. Fair enough. We love you too, Louisa. I love all you guys. I'm not even going to lie. Louisa, Tessa, Zomblue, Philip, all you guys out there, anyone who I might not have mentioned. Aaron, I know you're not here, but love you too, brother. Can't wait to see what you and Philip are going to do together once he makes it down to Jersey. And once my friends get back from their little trip down to California, I will talk to them about going to the Renfest and seeing if we can potentially make it the weekend that you were talking about, Tessa. Because I think that would be really cool to get to see. That was the other thing I was about to mention, actually. So yes, once I hit 100 subscribers, which hopefully will be soon, I definitely plan on making a trip up to Colorado Springs so we can celebrate. Are there any kind of big fields in Colorado Springs at all? Reason I'm asking is because if they do, of course, make a trip up to Colorado Springs, let's see. First ones, we're doing a special program at the World Overcomers Church. They're the first Christian sorority ever. That's cool. Well, the only reason I'm asking is because if they have some kind of a decent park or a big field that's open to the public or whatever, I might go ahead and bring some of these things down with me so we can do a bow vlog collaboration. Because I know you guys keep mentioning that, how much you think it'd be cool to see us shoot some arrows together, fling some arrows out there. So, you know, if there is something like that available, then I would, if I'm going to make the trip up there, you know, why the heck not? Oh, yeah, my phone's going off earlier about that. But yes. Fangirl noises. Usually densely packed. Okay, fair enough, fair enough. Sounds like I definitely have some research to do before heading up there then. And I know it probably looks really strange for me to continually do this. But again, I am simply trying to pop my ears, and since the mandible, I almost said master, the mandible is connected directly up to the zygoma, and part of the canal in the inner ear actually goes straight down towards the mandible. If you do that, you can actually make your ear pop slightly if you do it correctly. And obviously I know a little bit about human anatomy since I am a massage therapist, but yeah, that's what I need to start doing more of on this channel. I initially started this channel so I could do more videos talking about human anatomy and different massage things, and I have yet to really post very much on that, so I need to get my butt in gear on that. But yes, going back to that, maybe a school baseball field. If they will let us, then that would be perfect. You know, as long as we can have somewhere where there aren't a lot of people where kids are going to be running in front of the damn arrows, which I obviously do not want, then that'd be sweet. I mean, if there's nowhere we can do it, then I won't necessarily worry about it, but It'd be really cool to be able to do a collaboration the same day. Go out and stuff ourselves on pho and then go fling some arrows. That would be epic. Massage tips. Yes, if you guys ever have any questions at all with anything to do with massage therapy and its many different modalities, simply ask me and I will gladly answer whatever I can on this channel or on Facebook or anywhere it is that you happen to ask me. I studied many different modalities while at school, obviously. It actually blew me away when I first thought of it. Sounds good. Sounds good. I mean, my personal favorite modalities, aside, of course, from just basic Swedish massage and a little bit of deep tissue, is trigger point therapy and reflexology. Those are my personal favorites to do. I learned a bit about acupressure, of course, and a little bit about the other energy modalities besides reflexology. Learned a little bit about shiatsu, which that is a very interesting modality, to say the least. I hate when that happens, but it's already been an hour and 22, so I think we're going to go ahead and wrap this up for now, so don't feel too bad. Thank you for joining me, as always, everyone out there. Thank you for a wonderful evening of story time. Before we go, again, cheers, toast to everyone out there who joined me tonight, and everyone who will join me in post, of course. Always watch these streams on my phone. That's the only device I have to watch streams on, usually when other people go live. So, as always, thank you so much for watching. Thank you for joining me again. Stay safe. Never stop learning. Drive safe, of course, for those of you out there who are driving. And as always, I will see you in the next video. Take care, and good night. Love you all as well, everybody.